If you currently have $20,000 sitting in your bank account, I have some good news and some slightly annoying news for you. The good news is, you are safer than most people in the world, and you hold a resource that can actually allow you to build something real. But the bad news is that $20,000 might not be as big as you think, and if handled incorrectly, it could cause you to miss out on the greatest opportunities of your life. Most people feel like the job is done once they hit this number, but in reality, $20,000 is not the finish line. It's the critical gateway where the true financial journey begins. Have you ever wondered why some people build their fortunes starting with this amount, while others stay stuck in the same spot for years? The truth no one tells you is this: $20,000 won't make you rich, but it is a vital test for the habits that will make you rich. Usually, what we're taught is save money, stay safe. But living in America, you might not realize that inflation is slowly eroding your money. If that $20,000 is sitting in a non-interest-bearing account, it's losing value every single day. The problem isn't just inflation. It's the flawed perspective we have toward money. For many, when they reach $20,000, a reward mechanism triggers in their brain. Thoughts like, now I can replace my old car, or I've earned a luxury vacation, start to creep in. Right here, we are at a major financial threshold. This amount is the thin line between the comfort trap and true financial freedom. Psychologically speaking, $20,000 gives people a false sense of security. We can call this the big number illusion. When you have $500 in your pocket, you hesitate to spend because you're close to the edge. But when you have $20,000, a $2,000 expense feels insignificant. You say, I still have $18,000. But in reality, you aren't just buying an object with that $2,000. You are losing the thousands of dollars that money would have generated over 30 years. People generally evaluate money based on what it can buy, not what it's worth. However, if you start viewing money as a soldier, the game changes. Every dollar is a soldier working for you. When you have 20,000 soldiers, will you waste them in pointless wars, or will you use them to conquer bigger things? Let's do some math. Suppose you took this $20,000 today and invested it in an index fund providing an annual return of 8 to 10% and never touched it. In 20 years, it could reach nearly $135,000. If you add just $500 a month to it, by the end of 20 years, you'd have over $500,000. This is the point most people miss. $20,000 won't retire you on its own, but it starts the initial snowball effect required for growth. If you spend this money, you don't just lose $20,000. You lose those hundreds of thousands in your future. In a place like America, capital is everything. And right now, you have capital and advantage many people will never have in their lifetime. So why do most people make mistakes? Because you need to change your behavior. Having $20,000 means moving past survival mode and into smart planning mode. In America, there's the Henry trap: high earners, not rich yet people earning 150 kind, 200 kind, 200 kind a year who reset their bank accounts to zero every month. This happens because as income increases, expenses rise too. When you have $20,000, can you still drive that old car? Or will you spend a huge chunk of it on a down payment for a debt just to reward yourself? Real financial intelligence starts with loving the options your money provides, not the things it can buy. Let me give you a real example. Take two friends, Alex and Jordan. Both have saved $20,000. Alex sees this as a symbol of success and immediately puts a down payment on a $40,000 car, financing the rest. From the outside, he looks successful, but he lost his $20,000 and took on a debt burden. Jordan, on the other hand, uses that money as an opportunity fund and an investment source. He invests some in low-cost funds, sets some aside for emergencies, and uses a bit to develop skills through education. 5 years later, Alex is still paying off his debt, while Jordan's money has grown, and that capital allows him to take bolder steps in his career. The difference isn't just math, it's the perspective on time. The biggest mistake is all-or-nothing thinking. Someone with $20,000 either puts it all into risky crypto trying to get rich overnight, or get so scared of risk that they don't invest at all. Both lead to loss. Risk management isn't about being fearless, it's about managing fear. The greatest advantage of being in America is direct access to the world's most liquid and powerful financial markets. Tools like 401(k)s and Roth IRAs aren't just technical names. They are legal opportunities created for you to grow your $20,000 with tax advantages. Now is the time to change your perspective. Don't think you're rich just because you have $20,000, but don't feel helpless either. This money is where your ability to take risks begins. If you had only $2,000, you wouldn't have the luxury of making a mistake because that's your rent and food money. But with $20,000, you can take calculated risks. For instance, if you spend $5,000 on a new business or a new skill and fail, you still have $15,000 left, meaning you won't go bust. This freedom is something most people cannot access. Spending this luxury on expensive items or a flashy lifestyle is financial self-harm. Let's assume that $20,000 is not a safety blanket, but a springboard. So, why do most people freeze on that board? Because uncertainty is more terrifying than the comfort of liquid cash. Living in America, you are surrounded by a system trying to sell you something at every turn. On Instagram, in the flyers left at your door, in the luxury car your coworker just bought, everyone has their eyes on your $20,000. The system doesn't want you to save that money. It wants you to pump it back in as quickly as possible. This is exactly why you need to perform a strategic retreat. Thinking of your $20,000 as a single bullet would be a huge mistake. Putting all that money into one stock or a trending crypto is essentially gambling. Truly wealthy people care as much about protecting money as they do about earning it. What you need to do now is divide that $20,000 into small pieces and create an ecosystem. The first piece should be your peace of mind fund. In America, setting aside 3-6 months of expenses against unexpected job situations gives you the freedom to stand taller at work or take a risk on a better offer. The return on this fund might be zero, but the psychological comfort it provides is invaluable. Why does a person with cash in the bank speak with a stronger voice? Because money isn't just math. It's a spiritual power. The second piece is your growth engine. By investing the remaining money into low-cost index funds or tax-advantaged accounts, you buy time. Many people ask me, can I buy a house with $20,000? In some places maybe, but usually, even if this is enough for a down payment, it can leave you house poor. The decision point here is, do you take on debt to acquire an asset and strain your cash flow, or do you accumulate assets that generate cash flow? Most people choose the former because they lack patience. Patience, however, is a very precious virtue in the modern world. The third and often neglected piece is your skill fund. Consider investing $2,000 of your $20,000 into a skill that will earn you an extra $1,000 a month. That is a 600% annual return rate you won't find in the stock market or real estate. Increasing your own value is the strongest protection against inflation. Whether you're learning coding, specializing in digital marketing, or increasing your financial literacy, you are actually placing that money into an incubator. Most people miss this. Your greatest asset isn't the number in your bank account. It's your ability to reproduce that number quickly and repeatedly. So, how do you change your strategy? If you have $20,000, you must stop being a consumer and start being an operator. An operator doesn't track where the money went. They track what the money brought back. Learning the American tax system, credit scores, and compound interest might be difficult, but these are the foundations of financial freedom. Instead of asking, which stock should I buy, you should be asking, what system should I build so that my $20,000 turns into $21,000 while I sleep? Another mistake is peer pressure. When your friends know you've saved $20,000, they might say, why are you still using that old phone? Or come on, let's start a business with this money. It definitely won't fail. Remember, the financial journey is a marathon run alone. Others may have dreams for your money, but you're the one who ends up with the bill. That's why you must build a protective shield around your $20,000. Use it only for your long-term goals. You must be able to say no to unnecessary spending, jobs you hate, and negative investments. Saying no is the most powerful financial weapon $20,000 provides you. Let's be realistic. $20,000 won't make you rich tomorrow. When markets dip, that figure could drop to $15,000, and you might panic. This is exactly where most people withdraw their money and start their "I lost it all in the stock market" story. However, winners know that $20,000 is a seed and must wait patiently underground to grow. You don't need much motivation. If you are disciplined, that money will dissolve in a few months through small expenses. But if you are patient, this $20,000 becomes the first step toward your future freedom. Finally, think about this. That $20,000 in your hand is the result of your past efforts and the time you spent. When you spend that money, you aren't just spending dollars, you are spending the life you used to earn that money. Ownership is not luck. It's a responsibility. This money is your passport to transition from an average life to a life where you set your own rules. So, how will you use this passport? Will you spend your first visa on shopping? Or will you take your first step on the road to financial freedom? Remember, wealth isn't about how much you earn. It's about how much you keep and grow. You have the $20,000. You are on the field. The ball is in your court. You can either throw the ball into the stands and wait for applause, or you can learn the rules of the game and build your own empire. The choice, as always, is yours alone. You aren't alone on this journey, but you are the one taking the steps. Plan your next strategic move today, because those $20,000 are waiting for you to tell them what to do. If you don't give them a task, they will surely find a place to spend themselves. When you wake up tomorrow, don't just look at your bank account as a number. See it as potential, a future, and a story of freedom. Because that story is being written right now. By your decision. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe. See you in the next video. Goodbye.